we're going to use the info product model to fund one bill ahead. And it took 18 months. And it was some of the most intense pressure I have ever experienced in my entire life because I was fighting tooth and nail with the info product model, the next huge construction bill. The reason why I said yes to this is because I noticed this pattern even before I left my job, which was that environments have the ability to grow us faster than our willpower ever could. One of the most ultimate hacks to growth is the ability to say yes to scary crap willingly. Life will do that anyway. Eventually, life just throws our back against the wall and says, what you gonna do? We all have those situations that pop up just as adults. But how blessed is the person who learns to do that on their own? I'm not the same dude. By the end of the 18 months, right? By virtue of the journey, I changed, not before. We're qualified while we walk, not before. So what I want to do real fast is I want to share with you kind of how I think about the fastest growth possible. I've been working with several coaches over the years that, and this might sound like a conceited thing, but it was a piece of self-awareness I just didn't know about myself. They say, you grow really fast, Steve. You guys ever been told that, right? Or has your growth ever slightly been, intimidating to those around you? Ever done that? You're an entrepreneur, right? All right. So when I first started building this place, it was 2019. I just finished an event with 650 people. I was out $250,000 to run it. Because of funnels, I could step on stage at break even, but I also knew that events were going to be part of my future. And I also started seeing that events are the fastest way to collect market share. They just are, right? It makes your competitors sweat. You get all these really cool assets out of it. And so I started having this vision for a place that we could go and have events where it didn't cost $250,000 and multi-million-dollar insurance policies from the Boise Center, which is basically the government. I didn't realize that. It's terrible, right? If you guys who's ever done events? Yeah, how many of you guys love doing events, but you love the effect of the event, right? So I was like, I gotta have my own spot. So when I started finding places around here for that, this was all cubicle city. And 2 different suites, and I should show some more where this place really came from. But I was like, I want to be able to have a spot that's almost like a think tank area, and then on the other side it could be like a sales/creative area, and then offices around the outside. And that's where it started. That's what happened. And then right at the beginning of 2020, they started cutting the ground, right? And I reached out to my realtor and I was like, can I get in there and like do whatever I want until the demo team comes? He's like, sure. So we paintballed in here, we airsofted, we spray painted all over the place and ran the coolest ads and shot videos in here as they're demoing stuff all over. And sure enough, I could tell I was about to go through a divorce. And so I was living this is my Airbnb tour, as I call it, for a long time. Slept on my office floor, did all kinds of crazy stuff. And, scamdemic starts, right? All my bank funding falls out. In the middle, I had just signed the contracts for the construction, for AV and the deck. It was about $1 million in to do this. And I'm watching all my bank, because the world is going crazy. No one knew what was going on, right? And so all the bank funding fell out. And they're literally cutting concrete for those little stanchions. You know, it costs $20,000 to do that? My gosh, it's ridiculous. Anyway, those little stanchion things so that we could run power through the floor for computers and stuff, all that stuff. And I'm watching it, and I realize that I can't, I have cash flow, but I can't interrupt cash flow like that. You know what I'm saying? Like way bigger, scarier environment. And I remember it was right over here. I was standing right here. None of this stuff existed yet. It was just a hollow warehouse. Everything was exposed. Anyway, and I pulled my team together that I had at the time, and we were standing here, and I'm watching. They're cutting concrete. They're doing all the crazy stuff. And I was like, we have a decision to make. We either need to back out of this right now and cuts probably a couple $100,000 in losses, and possibly get sued for it because we had all these contracts that were running and stuff, right? And or man up. Basically, I was like, we're going to use the info product model to fund one bill ahead. And it took 18 months. And it was some of the most intense pressure I have ever experienced in my entire life, because I was fighting tooth and nail with the info product model, the next huge construction bill. This screen is $80,000, by the way. And I don't know why on earth chairs cost also another $70,000, but they do. And it's crazy, ridiculous. It's just the furniture and all this stuff. And I was literally racing every single bill for the next 18 months. And I want to really point something out with this. I learned a lot about goals from that. I also, the reason why I said yes to this is because I noticed this pattern even before I left my job, which was that environments have the ability to grow us faster than our willpower ever could. Right? And so whenever we're presented with something that seems scary or something that seems like there's no way out, if you just like shift a little bit and look at it from a different perspective, it's inviting you to grow, but only you get to choose if that's true, right? And so right now, I just want you to take a quick stock real quick. What is the environment that is absolutely bigger than you that is confronting you right now, right? I left my job. I had no revenue. I had no funnels up, really. I had 2,000 people on an email list. I was not running any ads. I don't recommend this, by the way. I had no money. But because I had set the stage, I knew that if I left and I said yes to this environment, it would grow me faster than I could. And I started realizing that one of the most ultimate hacks to growth is the ability to say yes to scary crap willingly. Very few people, life will do that anyway. Eventually, life just throws our back against the wall and says, what you going to do? Right? We all have those situations that pop up just as adults. But how blessed is the person who learns to do that on their own? So what I started learning was like, if I could just be an extreme visionary for a moment, step into the future of something, not quite know how I'm going to get from A to B, but start. Crazy enough, the ground never comes, right? You're jumping out of an airplane, build a parachute on the way down, ground never comes. Not really, right? And I started realizing that I could either I was like, I'll either figure it out or I'm going to die. And I'm not going to die, therefore I'll figure it out. And therefore I can say yes to some pretty crazy stuff. Now you can be a masochist with this, so be careful. I did learn that. There was a few times where I definitely Icarus flew too close to the sun, right? And I got burnt a little bit, but man, hyper ridiculous speed growth. Like you can't ever, it's amazing. How many of you guys have experienced a phase like that in your life? Like think back to those hinge moments in your entire life. Like the 15 years ago version of me freaking loves me. It's like, oh, that is awesome, right? But I can feel the next 15-year-old version of me calling. Can you guys ever feel that? You guys feel like the invisible hand from an economic standpoint? But I also can I can feel it. It's never been closer. It's staring me in the face right now. So, and it's been doing that a lot. So I wanted to share with you guys real quick, just a quick exercise that I go through whenever I'm goal setting, because I think the way we set goals is more like a wish list rather than goals, right? A wish is not a goal. And there's some things you got to do to change, right? The difference between a goal and a wish. Can I walk you guys through that? And this is my own philosophy. I'll end it with someone else's, but I want you guys to just think through this. So I could be dead wrong, but this is just, as I've experienced, over the last couple of years, just like, I know I've grown quick. And it's like, why has that been? I continue to have this pattern of saying yes to that are larger than me. And what's funny is 18 months of building this place, like that, I've done that all in a lot of places now. I'm not the same dude by the end of the 18 months, right? By virtue of the journey, I change, not before. We're qualified while we walk, not before, right? And so when you sit back and you say, all right, this is the goal I want to go after, you should probably never feel like you're qualified. You know what I mean? You're probably not saying yes to things that are probably big enough are going to stretch or grow you. I don't know if I quite fit that. That's a reason to move, not a reason to not move, right? So 3 or 4 years ago, I was working with this coach, and I was trying to figure out how to optimize my life. And he's an amazing man. He should be in Titans. We should get that guy in here. His name's Dimitri. And he told me, what's funny, Steve, is you get on stage and you blow people's brains by telling them that they don't have a traffic problem, they have a messaging problem. And I was like, yeah. And he goes, I'm going to blow your brain. He's like, you don't have an optimization problem. You have a needs problem. You never get your needs met. And you think that your own needs are a weakness and that having needs is a weakness. And that was my mindset for a long time. And I don't know if you guys have ever experienced that, right? Where you just go all in and you don't take care of yourself. And it's probably part of saying yes to things that are too big. I didn't have the support emotional system to go sprint hard, right? You guys know what I'm talking about? You following? Okay. He said, can you even name the 6 human needs? I was like, didn't know there were 6. Nope. He's like, you had a needs issue. He's like, you treat social interaction like it's a nuisance. Right? You just want to stay in your cave. You want to Tony Stark it out 24/7. I'm like, yeah, sounds freaking awesome. Let's play some rock, and I'm going to tinker in the garage all day. You know, the equivalent of the garage all day for me. So he started teaching me what the 6 human needs were, and it took like a year for me to start learning. I am still not good at it, but man, I'm sure that's maybe a long time you guys started running into my stuff and noticing big shifts in me. And I just want to call out what that is. Needs matter. First off, you're not weak for needing them. You're human, right? So here's how I think about goals. First off, have like one goal, not a laundry list, just one, right? And this could be one goal per 6 needs, or this could be one goal in business, or this could be one goal in fitness, or whatever that is for you. It's one. Don't set a laundry list of goals. The fewer, the better, because of what has to happen in order for that goal to come into your life at speed, right? I can get from here to Florida 1,000 different ways. What's the fastest way though? Just get on a plane, right? But I could walk there. Right. When I set a ton of goals, it's like saying I'm going to go to Florida, but I'm going to walk there because I have so many other goals. Lots of goals creates drag. One goal, which means I need to murder others, right? Or set them off to the side. So when I'm setting a goal, the way that I think about it is I think about it like this. First of all, I need to spend time in the goal emotionally. I have to be able to visit it in my head in the future. If I can't literally close my eyes and see it coming to fruition, my vision is not strong enough, right? So number one, I have to be able to name the goal, right? I have to live in the goal. I have to spend time in the goal. I have to close my eyes and be able to walk around. I can do that in all my frameworks. I close my eyes and I walk around inside the goal, right? And I can see it's real, right? You guys ever do this? Right? It's not just visualization. It's the beginning of all creation. If you can't imagine it, you won't make it. So thoughts are matter. All right. So the first thing I do is I have to be able to name the goal very simply. All right. It's funny because when I was becoming an officer in the Army, they're like, SMART goals. I hate SMART goals. Right? It's not that they're dumb. They just are incomplete because they don't add the secret sauce. Okay. So first thing, you have to be able to name the goal. The second thing I have to be able to name is the identity that goal requires for me to attain it. So what is the new identity that I'll be required to have? Otherwise, I'd already have it. Is that safe to say? If I was that person, the new identity already, it's safe to say that I probably would be able to just and have the goal. Take a step over and I'm ready to rock, right? And, okay. And I want to spend time defining the new identity. Notice that I'm spending as much time defining the new identity as I am the goal. That's 2 separate things, right? The next thing I want to go do is I want to create a vacuum in my life. Vacuums are how your goal comes to you faster. I love the quote by Socrates. He says that nature abhorreth a vacuum. Nature abhorreth a vacuum. Half of the speed of things that we've been able to create have been because of that very principle. If I go take a shovel and I go into the field over there and I just start digging up a whole bunch of dirt, I can come back in a year and what's going to be there? Stuff, right? Plants, right? Something. Nature abhors vacuums. Nature doesn't like voids. And so if I want to get and align myself with the power of nature and laws of nature, the best thing I can do when I'm setting a goal is to also choose something to sacrifice. We are finite machines. And so whenever I go out and I'm creating, this is the goal I want to go after, what am I willing to give up for that? What can I go give up from my life on the altar of sacrifice to say, in order for me to get that outcome, I'm going to give up these things, right? We are not machines that can keep adding and adding and adding and adding and adding and adding. We also are human beings that have to release things, right? I don't have the same habits or even thought processes when I was 12. Right? That wouldn't serve me now. Is this landing? You guys getting this? So choose what's the vacuum? And this is how I can say, here's my goal, but I actually can make it come to me. If I create vacuum, if my life becomes vacuum, if I choose to sacrifice things in my life, things come to me. That's the other thing he taught me in the same session, that Dimitri guy. He's like, you're very good at push energy, Stephen. You push. He's like, you're freaking master at your tank, right? I'm sure it's a result of a lot of trauma, whatever, right? But it's like, in reality, right? It's like push energy. I'm very good at the push energy. He said, the reason why you're burning out is because you don't know how to stand and have pull energy. He's like, you don't know how to pull things into your life. And one of the ways that I've learned how to do this is with the vacuum principle, is that when I'm setting the goal, a new me is required, right? I don't. It's funny because we did a challenge last week, and when someone, how do I make $1,000? It's like, first you have to be the person who can make $1,000, right? It's not just the tactics. It is absolutely the parallel journey of changing who you're going to be. And so I'm going to stand here. I'm going to that's the goal. That's what I'm going for. I'm going to sacrifice. What am I willing to let go of? And I've gone through and literally just gotten rid of stuff, whether it's my life stuff or habits or it's a thing. What do you give up something? And you'll notice that it actually you're stepping to it, but it's stepping to you at the same time. It creates a half-life for how long it takes to get goals and outcomes. Okay. The next thing I want to go do this is where I want to define a new environment. Environment changes us faster than our willpower ever does. So if I'm going to have a new outcome in my life, I got to change my surroundings. That might be physical surroundings. There's been times where I'll literally restructure my office as a signal that I'm ready. Okay. Or I'll do a deeper clean. And sometimes I'm doing that on Saturdays when I'm like listening. Sometimes I'll like turn the office. You guys ever listen to The Office? I'm saying listen. Right. Michael Scott, I don't know what it is. I think it's because it's not new to me anymore, and I sometimes can't handle new stuff, so it's like there's no surprises. It's just something on, right? But I think I've gone through 15 times now, the whole show, yeah. But what I'll be doing is I'll be listening to whatever, but what I'm really trying to do is I'm trying to, it's funny they call it when a woman's about to give birth, nesting, right? I treat it like goal nesting. How am I changing my physical environment, my actual environment? What can I do to change my actual physical structure around me in order to usher and invite the goal into my life, right? I'm inviting it. And these are some of those tactics for doing that. Next thing I want to go do is I want to get serious about the reality that there is absolutely a skill gap. What's the new skill? And there might be one, might be two. I don't make a laundry list. And it's not that I'm trying to learn how to do it. This is very key. I asked my dad once, I said, Dad, how did you get so successful in your career? And he was an executive at IBM. When I went to college and sat down, I was going to be a programmer like him, and they handed out the college textbook. This is the unified modeling language. This is the language that coders use to craft code before they choose to build it, right? It's like code architecture before they actually hit the coding books, right? My dad's name was on it. I was like, what? And I went and called him after. I was like, that's not you. He's like, yeah, that's me. I was like, you invented UML? He's like, yeah, me and a couple dudes. I was like, what? That's crazy. I said, how did you get so successful in your career? And he goes, I learned really quickly that I don't need to know how to do everything. What I have to learn how to do is I need to learn how to speak the language of other things. Right? He's like, so IBM sends me out because I can speak sales, but I also can speak marketing, but I also can speak front-end dev. I also can speak programmer and back-end. I also can speak, and so I'm that person that can go and interact with all the different who's that know the how, because they can't talk to each other. That's who we need to be as business owners, right? Stop learning all the skills. We learn the language of the skill so we can communicate effectively. So that's really what this is here. When I'm going and learning something new, pick up a couple books. I usually just will go grab the top couple books or courses or podcasts or whatever of whatever I'm going toward. And I know that if I just go through the top 2 or 3 books, I'm probably going to know 80% of the vocab. I just need to know the vocab. Tracking so far? Is this good? Cool. Okay. Then after that, I need to change my community. I have to change. There has to be some shift or change in my community to usher the goal in, right? This is the fastest way to die is, right, to go out and be, there was all these, I forgot about this. There was all these, there's research done that showed, I'm going to botch this just a little bit, but let me tee it up. There's some kind of research that was done that showed in like economic crisis, where let's say that you are like this is like doomsday prepper kind of stuff. You know what the number one asset is for you to have ready? Let's say that water supply gets cut off. Let's say electricity gets cut off. Let's say the grocery stores are no longer filled up. You know what, interestingly enough, you can have that stuff stored up, but you know what it actually is? Strong community bonds. Strong community bonds is how you survive crazy apocalyptic kind of things. That was the number one thing. And then after that was all the rest of the stuff you probably, we all think would be obvious. Blew my mind. Community's huge. Last thing, and there's others, but the last thing I want to do is I want to create a scorecard for myself. There's no accountability if I'm not walking around tracking it somehow. And this is simple, so simple, right? But I want to create some kind of scorecard, some kind of metric that I'm going to go and report to somebody else. Okay. Now, by doing this, you're working with the laws of nature in your own goal setting, right? You're saying, this is where I'm going to go. I'm visualizing and can visit it in the future. Then I'm going to come back to the present and I'm going to create vacuum in my life so that we're stepping towards each other at the same time. I'm going to go create a brand new environment. And again, that could be a physical thing. My favorite way, though, is to call my shot publicly, like some of you guys have been doing. I commit that in the next 6 months when I return, I encourage you to do that, right? That's a call the shot. That's a changing the environment. We're now the community, right? And a lot of these can intertwine. That's going to hold feet to the fire a little bit more and begin to usher in a new you, right? Letting go of the old and taking on the new. Is this helpful? So what we're going to do real quick in just a couple minutes here, and then we're going to end, is you guys ever read the book 10X is easier than 2X? Highly encourage it. One of my favorite personal development books I've ever read in my life. So yeah, it should come with a warning label. Like, wow. It does break your life, and it's on purpose. And it's because he teaches in here the literal science, brain science, between a 2X in someone's life and a 10X in someone's life. Right? You guys remember what it is? Yeah, it's the 80-20, right? And if you're going to 2X is push energy. I'm going to work harder. I'm going to sacrifice more, right? It's push energy. It's very exhaustive. It's usually a beginning of the end because they're burning out, right? So in a 2X, 20% of you is changing as a human being and 80% of you is staying the same, right? In a 10X, and this is what's hard about it, a 10X, 20% of you is the same human being at the end of a 10X, and 80% of you is a different human being by the end of it. And so you go around and you start asking, what am I willing to let go of in order to hit that new outcome and goal? Because we have world changes in here, right? Which means we have to change. And if we don't change our world, you will not change the world. So radical deletion, that's the phrase we say, radical deletion, radical, unforgiving deletion of things in my life that cause drag. So what I want you to do is I want you right now you can get a lot of ideas in masterminds. And we're not done. Obviously, we have a whole day. We're going to network tonight. But what I want you to do is I want you to come in. I want you to say, here's one thing from today that I want to change or start. And then here's two things that I want to stop. Make sense? All right, let's take 3 minutes right now. Top of mind. One thing you're going to start. Two things you're going to stop. It's more important to stop than start. Right here. Tomorrow, at the end of the mastermind, I would love it if we all commit to each other, whatever it is we want to actually change. You don't have to share it all, but just start mulling on these things. And I find that it's really helpful to increase the distance. I love it. It's the mark. I love this quote. I can't remember who said it. It's the mark of an educated mind to be able to entertain a thought without accepting it. Increase the distance between new thought and doing something. Don't immediately act. So as you have these ideas that come to you and as you start to open up a space for that, you're going to start having new ideas that pop in and just entertain them, but don't accept them, right? And we start playing in this playground of what will I start? What will I stop? What will I start? What will I stop? And then human beings, we're so interested in finality. We want the answer immediately. But it's actually better if we can increase the time between thought and action. So over the next day, keep this on your mind as you have more and more ideas. And then no pressure, but as a mastermind and its power, feel free to, and I'd love it as we commit to each other. Here's the thing I'm going to start. Here's the two things I'm going to stop over the next 6 months as well. Awesome. Good stuff. Let's do it.